Get a copy of the, Nicole, let us know when you're ready to start recording.
Okay.
You guys get a copy of the revised in your emails?
Yes.
Awesome. As soon as Nicole lets us, as soon as we start recording, we'll
I'm gonna start the recording now.
live. Okay, it is 12:09 p.m. July 29th, 2002, and I will call this City of Lacey Lodging Tax Advisory Committee meeting to order. We have seemingly all members in attendance and our city manager, Scott Spence. It looks like we need to approve the minutes from our July 22nd, 2022 meeting last week. For that, can I get a motion?
I so move. I read them. I did.
Anyone a second?
I'll second.
All right, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion unanimously passes. So it looks like we have a pretty short agenda today. We will move right into our 2023 application, the final review, and we will be reviewing that. Scott Spencer, city manager, will take us through that.
So hopefully the committee will indulge me. I think we took good notes last time that we spoke. And what I'd like to do is just go through all the changes that we made. We did this in legislative format. And so I will just start with page 1. Does that make sense to everyone?
Sounds great.
Great. So at the very top where it says organization/agency information, you'll notice in red, please note this application and any attachments hereto may be considered record subject to public review. That was an issue that we had before. We just want to make sure people are alerted that this is a public document.
You might want to put that in bold. Is that not in bold?
We can do that. So
Yeah,
appreciate that comment.
Just,
The next change is underneath, I'll say the bottom part of the page, events/festivals in red. We just want to make sure that we are reimbursing for items that are in the scope of work. It just helps us on the back end when people do submit charges to be reimbursed, that we're all on the same page. It's just another affirmation. So
Do you think we should add the RCW, or I'm sorry, the city code that defines, like they can have a reference point, like if you always have that person who's like, well, let's go see exactly what the Lacey Municipal Code says scope of work. I'm just wondering, if it says, I further understand the city of Lacey will only reimburse those costs identified within the scope of work identified by the municipal services contract. I guess we don't have.
So for clarification, so the contract, when we say municipal contract, so if a event organizer received funds, they would be signing a municipal contract with us. So it's our
Okay, so
contract.
they will already have
Yeah,
a copy of said contract.
And then they will give us, and we will work with them on the scope of work that they presented to LTAC.
Okay, so the contract that they already signed.
Yeah, so we're just trying to make sure we're all on the same page about, you submitted this to LTAC to say we won't be reimbursed for, say, advertising costs and, maybe operational costs.
Okay, that's a little more, okay, that's better.
So then on page 2, we did a little bit of clarification, but I believe Chad's the one who recognized that let's be somewhat broad and consistent throughout. So you'll start seeing a theme where we're saying, how were your event, activity, or program? And so number 2, you'll see that first change. We did cross out the one bullet point where it says describe the tourism. If you're already describing how it's going to encourage support, you're already doing it, seemed redundant. So we just took out that bullet. So under the first bullet under question 2, that will take that one out. The other bullet, that's really more of an instruction. So we'll put something like, no, please provide copies of proposed promotional material. That really is not a question.
For consistency, should we put describe your event, activity, or programs, tourism related activities? Or does that need to change for the consistency of the theme?
oh, up at the
At
top.
the top, yeah.
Oh. Activities, event, or program.
I guess they're all there. It's just.
Well,
it's worded
program,
differently, that's all.
program is left out. The activities or
Tourism
events,
related.
but program isn't up there at the top.
Just, you see what I mean, though? So we're putting it you know, we're fairly consistent with event, activity, or program.
Are you talking about this right here?
Yeah,
Okay.
if
Will do.
we could,
Understood.
yeah.
Yep, we will do that.
Good catch.
Sorry, I was a slow one.
Oh,
today.
and then too, on number one, it says event and slash activity,
Yeah,
so
we'll
we
make
should
that consistent.
probably, okay.
Absolutely. So program will be thrown in there.
Are you guys following up there?
Perfect. Again, question 3 seemed redundant. If you're already telling how your event activity program promotes and enhances tourism in the city of Lacey, and please describe how this will encourage, support Lacey businesses, restaurants, retail. You're kind of just saying the
Saying
same
the same
thing
thing.
over. So to not provide confusion, we took that one out. We agreed that it would be good to, if you're going to have a hotel as part of your event, or if you're gonna have a host hotel, which one is it? So that's a quick check mark. Obviously, there could be others, but we'd like to know that. Going to page 3, again,
That'll be telltale.
Yes, it will.
so going to the same theme, event activity program, 4 includes that. Same thing with 5. Just to be more explicit, we added, what is the total budget of your event activity program? So let's just, what is it? Is it a $100,000 event? Is it a $50,000 event? So that just needs to be filled in. Then as we get into questions about, does your activity or program rely solely on LTAC funds? Yes, no, then what percentage? Again, it just makes it a little bit more easier to follow along. We asked this question, but we think it'd be better to cite or enumerate what are those itemized lists that you're expecting LTAC to pay for. So again, that would just be good information. When you're asked for LTAC dollars,
Yeah.
what's the intention? And they could list it and figure what the dollar amount is. Number 10, no change. 11, how do you measure success for your event or activity? That was a question that LTAC committee members kind of wanted in there.
Yeah, on that one,
Mhm.
I was thinking about that one earlier this morning. And I guess if it's your first year doing something, maybe you don't have a metric just yet.
True.
And so then would you feel compelled to answer that question and just throw something in there because you have no clue? Or how do we disclaimer that one? And if if it's your first year or something along those lines, I'm
Okay,
wondering.
I'm just thinking of something like food vendors. If they run out of food, of what they had planned, would that be successful? Yeah. I mean,
100%.
it's not good, but it's success.
Yeah.
I think
What if we moved to something like this? How do you or will you measure the success of your event, activity, or program? Because that would cover new and it would cover old. So something along the lines of how do you or will you measure the success of your event, activity, or program?
You like it.
absolutely. Yep.
Because like parking, if you run out of parking spots, or I don't know.
So then number 12, I think Ruth, you brought this up before. Sometimes they forget to include Lacey for part of the top 5. So we're just making that very clear. Please include Lacey in the top 5.
Right, thank you.
We did some reordering just to make it more seamless. Do you plan to become self-funded? There were some redundancies in the last. So if yes, include your plan. There was old language in the old contract that said something, well, how have you done so far? Either you have a plan or you don't. So just, we answer that in the affirmative. 14, are you going to receive funds? Are these new funds? If not, if they are they increased funds? And then they'll describe that in 16. And then everything else is the same from previous applications. One thing that we think would be helpful, and Nicole should be credited with this idea, is that we would provide an example, a filled out application. So it's one thing to sort of read a question, well, what are they looking for? So we'll put in like, I think we're gonna use like Lacey Jazz Festival example, and then answer all those questions from that perspective. So they have an idea what we're looking for. That may help. And so provide some consistency.
Because remember when the Visitor and Convention Bureau said she would have people come to her and ask for help
Absolutely.
filling
Yep.
these out?
So we will combine an example link to say, this is what we would see a typical application look like and the information that we're looking for. And then we'd obviously have the updated application that we talked about today.
So if the VCB was to help them fill it out, is that something that a service that they're trying to provide, or is that something
They
that,
were at the time, I don't know that they.
Yeah, I think they have in the
listed.
past.
okay,
Yeah, they have. I can't remember the lady's name that was in the marketing piece of LTAC,
What-
but anyway, she made the comment that she's.
she'd be happy to help anybody fill that out. I guess if I guess is it too late to reference that on this document
I
or
would,
provide that information or?
Well, I think how it happens is that people will go to VSB and see we support the event, and then they would have a typical response. Well, there are LTAC funding committees out here, and you can apply for funds if they can't directly fund them.
Well, I see Nicole is on here as a question contact, so I guess if it come to it, she
yeah,
Absolutely. So I guess the question for the committee, does this meet the intent when we met last Friday? And is there any other decisions or ideas that came up after looking at this?
I really like it. I love that we're getting more specific and detailed. That was one of the things my first year after we went through the process, I talked to Ruth about, and I really feel like we've made great strides in really coming together and actually making the document more user-friendly and more specific. I think when we get at one of the biggest frustrations I have, and I feel that others on this committee have it too, is when we ask very vague questions and then we get vague response and then we get frustrated because we didn't get the nitty-gritty that we wanted to. So I feel like we're making great strides in getting that detail that we all need so we can make our decision to help our community. So
I think this is gonna provide us more information and greater metrics to, look and forecast in the future. So I'm very interested to see how, what these are the outcome is gonna be after like September when we get these back. And we're able to review them and see, what people put in there for, where the other dollars are coming from, the top sources of revenue, do you plan to be self-funded, and so on and so on. So who knows, maybe we can, at that time, look at, who's gonna need help in the future, if we should actually, set aside a portion for first timers. So this, I think this will set us up for success.
cool.
So with that, it looks like we have a final 2023 application. If everyone is in agreement. So do we have to move for that? Or there's action required or?
I think by motion, by affirming, we approve the changes. If we see something minor, I think you'd give us a latitude to fix some formatting issues. But if we can get a motion to approve the final application, then we would then have that made available next week before the public.
Anybody
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve the form as is with minor changes in formatting given to the discretion of Nicole, if Nicole's the one that's going to be administrating the form. I'm very comfortable with that.
second,
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the 2023 application before we vote? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion unanimously passes, and we will pass that on to city management for final review and a final draft, which we would see just prior to it going out.
Yeah, so this is basically done. So I guess here's my next question. I'll ask for some latitude from the committee. The goal would be to get this out. The first would be preferable, but we still have some stuff we gotta get done. Maybe no later than the 3rd of August. And again, that gives almost a complete full month for people to fill out the application.
All right, let's make that happen.
I'm good with that.
Okay, well, that is the last item on our agenda. Did you guys get a chance to take a look at the VCB website?
I did.
Okay. Did you think that we were represented fairly well on there, or what did you find when you?
I really like their website. It looks like it's been revised quite a bit. I felt like it could use some more information on, I couldn't say exactly what, but I thought it could use more information with regards to Lacey, I think.
Chad, did you have any thoughts?
I generally feel like I felt pretty good about what information was provided. I felt like it's maybe formatted, maybe where we lie on the website might be, I don't know if they do it by, I don't know. I've never had a conversation with the VCB, so I don't really, regarding their website. So I don't know analytically if the pages are designed, if they're in alphabetical order or how they're lined out. I felt like I feel like it's pretty even, but if there's specific information, like Susanna said, I'm sure they would be very amenable to add additional detail, but I think we would be the ones that need to say, hey, we would love you to focus on this area or with that area. But I think a simple conversation would go a long way. But I did feel like it was pretty even throughout the different jurisdictions of our county. I didn't feel like we got less attention than Bucota or Tenino. But if there's a specific need, I think we just need to ask for that need to be met. And it's been my experience with the VCB, and especially with this current iteration of the VCB, that they've been very amenable to suggestions or changes. So
Yeah, like you guys, I like the new layout. And I like how you can go click on a city and say, I want to know what's going on in that city. I thought that was a cool new feature. The VCB, I've gone to some of their events. I enjoy their events. And again, they, like you said, Chad, they're amenable people. And so maybe we won't have a conversation with them. I'd like to see, some more Lacey Parks on there we have a lot of events going on. And so, Ruth, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, when I opened it up, Lacey scrolled right away, but that's a scrolling, the city's scroll. So you have to wait there for a minute. But then if you scroll down, you can click on the map and click on Lacey, and it takes you to different things in Lacey. But the one thing I saw, speaking to your point, Malcolm, is the fact that they don't have any link to the parks. They talk about parks, but there's no link to click on.
Gotcha.
So there's a few of those that aren't linked in the different areas of Lacey. So look at that, and I think that's something we can call to their attention.
And that might be something that they just haven't got to yet. I know it's a newer site.
Yeah, I was just going to reference that. I was just going to mention that this is a site, a revisit as of the last time we all got together, Malcolm, which was 3 months ago. They had just launched right that same day they had launched. And it was while Annette was out that they had gotten that squared away. So her team led that charge. So yeah, it's been a very new site.
Okay. Well,
And I didn't look at the events. Did anybody see all the events in Lacey that were?
Yes, there's quite a bit on there.
Is there?
Yes, it's all dated and very, very neat and organized on the website there.
okay, well, we will revisit this when needed, if needed. And if need be, I know that they're nice people, they're amenable people. They probably welcome any discussion that we have. So this will potentially be tabled for another time.
Excellent.
And with that, we have reached the end of our agenda. And if nobody has any objections, I will call this meeting adjourned. You guys have a great weekend, plenty of sun, plenty of fun.
Sunscreen.
So can I ask a question before
Please.
we adjourn?
Yeah.
I had on my calendar, and I don't know why, launching text meeting
The
next
5th of
Friday.
August, you're right. So given the great work that this committee has done, that meeting will not be necessary because we were able to get the application removed. That was a previous discussion at the earlier meeting that we had. So
Okay.
Right.
good reminder, we'll remove that from the calendar.
Okay, good enough.
Perfect.
Not that my calendar is so up to date, but I just happened to.
Okay,
Well,
so.
I won't travel over to see you guys on that day, but I will
that
be
was
in
great.
person.
You're planning to come over.
I will be at our next meeting in person. Hell or high water.
Susanna, are you gonna try to come to City Hall, or are you so chock full of guests that you can't get out?
Today I'm really busy, but maybe the next time.
Okay, all right,
You guys
maybe
are
next
just
time.
5 minutes down the road. I'm sure I can make it.
Well, we had hoped to see you one of these times.
Okay.
And apparently that is our cue to adjourn this meeting. So with that, I will call this meeting adjourned.